Greetings and salutation, friends. Welcome back to another edition of ARFCOM News. Andrew's out this week, so I'm going to be your host with the most. Starting off this episode is some terrible news from our friends up in the Great White North. On May 1st, Prime Minister Blackface, that's our very own Governor Blackface, wrong, racist gun control freak. I'm not saying that there's some correlation between racism and gun control, but there's definitely some correlation between racism and gun control. Anyway, Trudeau announced a ban of over 1,500 models and variants of so-called assault weapons by royal decree. The ban comes on the heels of Canada's deadliest shooting some weeks ago, a shooting which was orchestrated by a scumbag who the law already prohibited from owning the firearms used in the act. Nevertheless, Prime Minister Blackface decided to go after law-abiding citizens in a similar fashion to our very own gun control freaks. The list, which bans nearly all scary modern sporting rifles, also includes bolt actions, nades, rocket launchers, anti-tank missiles. Okay, dude. Who made this list? We made it on there, not just once, but twice. Hey Paul, one thing I want to stop you about real quick. I'm pretty sure you're going to use a super clickbaity title, so let's just go ahead and clarify real quick to the folks watching. AR15.com isn't banned as in the website, it's just the manufactured rifles that we used to make. It's still a ridiculous ban, but kind of a distinction I should mention so you don't forget to do that in the video like you did. Alright. Back to you, Paul. Alberta Premiere Jason Kenney, who voiced criticism of the ban, stated that the order, quote, does little to target criminals. Instead, Ottawa is singling out law-abiding Canadians who purchase their property legally and have owned these items safely for years and who have committed no crimes. Doug Ford, Ontario's premier, voiced similar concerns. Quote, the problem is not the legal gun owners. We need to target the smugglers. We need to throw the book at these gangsters out there terrorizing our streets. The following day, Canada's 4 major firearm advocacy groups joined together to call for the removal of Bill Blair as the Minister of Public Safety. Why is that? Well, the Department of Public Safety was created in 2003 to ensure the coordination across all federal departments and agencies responsible for national security and the safety of Canadians. So when the government couldn't answer simple questions regarding the processes like why bolt-action firearms are on the list, why shotguns are caught in the bore diameter restrictions, why some rimfire firearms are listed contrary to the selection criteria, to name a few, it just was made clear that these regulations were made in haste. Alison de Groot, managing director for the Canadian Sporting Arms and Ammunition Association, stated that, quote, it was almost like the departments weren't told this was coming either. The CSAA also noted inconsistencies in the banned list as several of the now prohibited firearms share very similar characteristics with other firearms that aren't included. Keeping the derp train rolling, on Sunday, Trudeau defended his ban and went on to promise further restrictions targeting handguns this time around. He didn't give a timeline for these measures, and he said only that he would move forward with legislation when Parliament allows. Only time will tell how idiotic that's going to be. And finally, on Wednesday, May 6th, the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights announced that it would be taking this battle to the courts. According to the site, the CCFR doesn't typically get involved in litigation, but has deemed it necessary due to this unprecedented attack on the freedom and liberty of Canadian sport shooters and hunters. Now, this news came out just as I was getting ready to film this video, so I haven't really had too much time to delve into it. But it looks like the suit hasn't been filed just yet. I've dropped a link to the announcement, which includes some more information regarding their plans from Rod Giltaca, the CEO and Executive Director of the CCFR. If you'd like to help Canadian firearm advocacy groups like the CCFR, CSAAA, CSSA, or NFA, no, not that NFA, the National Firearms Association, we'll leave a link to each organization in the description below. It's concerning to see this happening to our neighbors, and we'll keep following the situation and keep y'all informed. I hope it doesn't further embolden the gun control freaks on our side of the border pushing similar incompetence. Back to this side of the border, there was some speculation that the Supremes would take on another Second Amendment case after the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus New York case was declared moot. Unfortunately, on Monday, the court released its list of orders, and even though several Second Amendment-related cases were considered, none had been accepted. The good news is that none of them were dismissed either. The current cases before the court include a challenge to the ban on interstate sales of handguns, a challenge to California's microstamping law, several concerning carry laws, and also a challenge to the the assault weapons ban. Hopefully one of these will be picked up and addressed soon.
I want to tell you about the badass giveaway that our sponsor, TNVC, is conducting right now. Wait a second, put down that band finger YouTube censor bot. It doesn't have anything at all to do with guns. But if you humans like seeing stuff more than not seeing stuff, click the link in the description to enter to win a limited edition multicam black PVS 14 night vision monocular. May the odds be ever in your favor.
In New Mexico, Governor Grisham extended her public safety order to May 15th, but decided to allow certain non-essential businesses to reopen. By certain, I mean among them gun stores, which are now available by appointment only. Unlike most states, New Mexico, as a handful of other states, didn't follow the DHS's recommendations and deemed gun control stores non-essential. If you're curious about restrictions in your state, we've left a link to the NSSF's database for gun owners and FFLs in the description below. The NSSF database has been kept up to date since we first reported on it back in March. Now, it wouldn't be much of an episode if we didn't hear from our dear friend, Florida Man. Did you know that John Wick is also related to Florida Man? Well, not really. Let me elaborate. A Florida resident by the name of Getro Galen was being investigated for domestic violence because, of course he was. Wait, don't tell me. Were there piles of empty Natty Ice cans and a Marlboro Lights strewn around the place, a broken lawnmower just visible over there through the weeds? Was there a 5-year-old in a sagging diaper with green snot encrusting both nostrils and sedimentary layers of dirt on his unwashed face? Man, now I'm depressed. Well, anyway, Florida Man was predictably being investigated for domestic violence after reports that he threatened a woman with a gun. Police searched his Porsche and found a handgun, semi-auto rifle, and body armor. When questioned why these items were in his car, Galen told him that he had recently sold his car to his cousin, John Wick. Obviously, the police didn't believe him, and he admitted he didn't actually have a cousin named John Wick. He was eventually arrested and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and domestic battery. Springfield has announced the addition of a .308 pistol to their St. Victor line just in case you wanted to be a little more popular with the FUDs at your local range. Nothing says I love you like a 7.62 NATO mag dump from a short barrel. Now, I know that you may be thinking that a 10.3-inch barrel kind of neuters the 7.62, but you would be absolutely right. Ian and Carl at InRange TV demonstrated that in an 8.5-inch barrel, 7.62 by 51 millimeter is more or less equivalent to 7.62 by 39. More or less. So yeah, you're generating an awful lot of muzzle blast, flash, and commotion with something this short and this caliber. But I know that as I said that, some of you were thinking that I just spelled fun wrong. Even if it isn't practical, there's no reason that you can't buy a gun just because it's fun or you think it looks hella cool. And if you slapped a can on this bad boy, it would obviously tame a lot of that party at the muzzle. And it'd also be worth pointing out that, being roughly equivalent to 7.62 by 39 isn't remotely the same thing as being roughly equivalent to a Nerf dart. I mean, even if it's from a short barrel, 7.62 by 39 is still pretty rowdy, and so is the 7.62 NATO. 155 grain AMAX is still going to be well north of 2,000 feet per second and ought to practically turn a gel block inside out. Comment below if you think that we should get one out to Andrew for testing. The new St. 308 pistol is 28.25 inches long with the brace collapsed, has a melanite finish, MPI bolt, free float M-lock handguard, and lots of other extras. MSRP is $13.63. Hot on the heels of the Shadow 2 single action only announcement, CZ has announced that the Shadow 2 optics ready variant is bound for the US. As the name implies, the variant is pre-cut for an optic plate and is geared for the USPSA Carry Optics division. The OR has a slightly different slide profile but is otherwise the same as the original. And with the new 59-ounce weight limit for Carry Optics, this hefty 46.5-ounce piece will now make the cut. I myself picked up a Shadow 2 late last year to shoot in USPSA's production division, and I have to say that I'm a really big fan. If you're not familiar with the Shadow 2, it's a steel-framed 9mm pistol based on the CZ75 design that's been modified for competition-focused shooters. It's got a great trigger, extended reversible mag release, and it fits my hand perfectly. One of the best things about the CZ line is that shooters with all kinds of different hands and shapes say it fits them well. Now, I have normal human hands, but even Andrew said that it fits his weird little carny hands nicely too. If I was looking to get into the Carry Optics game, I would definitely have my eye on one of these. MSRP is $15.49. And last on the list, we have a new 50 BMG bolt action from Remington. Well, not really. The new Remington R2 Mi 50 looks just to be a reskinned Bushmaster BA 50. The rifle will become available later this fall as a built-to-order item. And I've been seeing a lot of comments on the internets from folks concerned about the quality control at Remington paired with the 50 BMG. Now, whether or not that's a valid concern, there is a certain visceral reaction to the idea of touching off a Mongo cartridge like the 50 inches from your nose if you aren't really confident in the quality. Coming in at an MSRP of $4,599, how many of you would be willing to get behind this bad boy? Let us know in the comments section below. Now that's all I got for you guys today. Andrew will be back next week, so you don't have to see my ugly mug for a while. Also in the coming weeks, we're going to be introducing a couple of new faces that have joined our video team, and we'll have another giveaway right after this current one ends, so keep an eye out for that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff that YouTubers normally ask you for. And if you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of our upcoming content, hit that notification bell because that's the new subscribe button. Well, I'll catch y'all next time. Andrew loves you.